or something for the interview? I've seen online that they usually have a script. Haha. The beautiful host awkwardly smiled, glanced at the director beside her, and said to Lin Fei, according to the normal process, there would be a script. However, your situation is a bit special, and we haven't prepared a script at all. Seeing Lin Fei's worried expression, she added, don't worry. Your situation has already been communicated above. We won't mention any off-topic subjects in the show, and most of the questions will revolve around the game. This is our question booklet. You can take a look in advance. As she spoke, the beautiful host handed Lin Fei the question booklet. Not one to be polite. He took the booklet and started looking through it. There weren't many questions, just a handful. And as the host said, the questions didn't involve anything else. Seeing this, he finally felt relieved. Just then, another young woman rushed over backstage, asking the director if makeup was needed. Seeing the curious gazes of the others, Lin Fei, being a straightforward guy, immediately refused without a second thought. Although he usually doesn't pay much attention to grooming, he made an effort on the way to the TV station. As for makeup, forget it. He doesn't like it. He believes a man should just be clean and doesn't need any excessive grooming. Upon hearing his response, the others did not insist further. They believed that even without any special grooming, Lin Fei, dressed in casual attire, possessed an honor that would make all men envious. His physique was even remarkably perfect. Just like the saying goes, if a person is handsome, even a burlap sack cannot conceal their striking appeal. At this moment, wearing a pre-prepared black suit, he showcased his figure and temperament perfectly. His calm yet piercing gaze highlighted the rebellious aura he exuded. This sunny, handsome young man was simply flawless, even comparable to any popular celebrity. Mr. Lin, the interview is about to start. Just relax. As the broadcast time approached, the beautiful host comforted him again. Lin Fei nodded slightly and revealed a confident smile. Seeing this, the host smiled back and walked towards the front stage with her question card in hand. As the time arrived, the live broadcast began. Under the gaze of countless players nationwide, the elegantly dressed host, wearing a light blue long dress, gracefully stepped onto the stage in front of the camera. Hello, dear audience. I'm your host, Xiaohe. After a brief self-introduction, the beautiful host got straight to the point. I believe everyone in front of the television already knows who our guest is this episode. So, without further ado, let us welcome the founder of the gaming community from our nation. As the host's voice rose, Lin Fei, dressed in a black suit, walked out from backstage. When he reached the camera, he showed no signs of nervousness, calmly waving his hand. Hello everyone, I'm Lin Fei. After a brief introduction, he walked to the set and, at the host's invitation, took a seat on the sofa. The beautiful host, Xiaohe, sat opposite him. Seeing Lin Fei's performance, Xiaohe's eyes flashed with surprise. She did not expect Lin Fei to perform so well. A television interview broadcast is quite different from an online influencer's live stream. It not only reaches the entire nation but also touches thousands of households. This was a national television interview, which could even attract the attention of foreign friends. Having interviewed countless personalities, Xiaohe knew that even some big-name stars could appear somewhat awkward in this setting. Yet, the young man before her remained composed, showing no signs of discomfort. Considering the recent rumors and trending news surrounding Lin Fei, Xiaohe quickly came to terms with it. Perhaps this was what people referred to as a true talent among men. Watching Lin Fei, who seemed confident and unflustered, Xiaohe felt a slight tension for some reason. Wow, am I seeing things? Why do I feel like Lin Fei is interviewing the host? Yeah, just look at Lin Fei's calm demeanor. I have to say, he is really nailing this act. Haha, I agree with the opinion above. It must be said that this time, the gaming brand has truly become famous. From now on, it will be the pride of our country. In fact, I used to like this brand a bit, but now, I like it even more. I can guarantee that from now on, this brand will be a symbol of our country. Wow, I can't believe I'm witnessing this historic moment. My mom asked me why I was kneeling to watch TV. Hey, don't you all care about the person behind the brand? He is so impressive. It's frustrating. We can't see it. We're blind. The person is so cool. Watching it once a day is a must. No dating allowed. Watching the calm demeanor of the person on the TV show, the online viewers completely erupted with excitement. Compared to the slightly flustered host, he seemed more like a professional TV presenter. Chapter 164. With hair all over, calling others monkeys. Mr. Lin, we won't discuss your game for now. I believe the national audience must be curious about one question. What prompted you to enter the gaming industry? After collecting her emotions and stabilizing her mind, Xiaohe smiled slightly at the camera and then turned to look at Lin Fei. Wow, and yet you say it's not beyond the scope. This is clearly a setup. Upon hearing the question that wasn't on the card, Lin Fei was momentarily taken aback, but quickly regained his composure. After a brief moment of thought, you probably won't believe it if I tell you. What led me into the gaming industry was not some dream. At the time, I thought this industry was very simple and made money quickly. As he said this, he shook his head, adding that he didn't expect the industry to be so deep. He exaggeratedly gestured with his hands, saying, "It's the kind of depth that you can't see the bottom of, do you understand?" Looking at Lin Fei, the host he momentarily didn't know how to respond, but as a quick-thinking host, she immediately joked. Mr. Lin is quite humorous. Now the whole internet knows that before you founded Player Kingdom, you had a failed experience. So, I think there is no such thing as a simple success in this world. I believe Mr. Lin's entrepreneurial journey must be very bittersweet. Upon hearing the host's words, the gaming audience in front of the TV immediately felt displeased. What? He calls that bittersweet? He the one scaring people right from the start. We're the ones who are bittersweet, okay? Who doesn't remember, when I first played I Am Legend? I was so scared I didn't dare to sleep alone for a week. What that compared to our dorm buddies who were scared for 3 days straight? What about that? My best friend still hugs Lin's doll to sleep every night. As the audience discussed, the conversation between Lin Fei and the host had already gotten to the point. Mr. Lin, many people online say that your predecessor company, Player Kingdom, had disputes with a large enterprise in the industry. What are your thoughts on this? Hearing this question, Lin Fei couldn't help but grumble. Damn, another out-of-scope question. However, regarding this issue, Lin Fei smiled subtly and replied, "What can I say? I can only sit back and watch. I generally don't like to respond to rumors like this. However, I want to make it very clear here. No company will have disputes with Player Kingdom because I want to give them that opportunity." Just after finishing, before the host he could speak, he shifted his tone, saying, "However, I still want to give a piece of advice to my peers. I don't resist competition in the industry. After all, only through healthy competition can good works emerge. Companies that operate under the guise of gaming while actually extracting players' wealth should be dealt with severely by the authorities." Upon hearing Lin Fei's words, everyone in the television studio and viewers nationwide gasped in shock. This guy? He is really bold. He dares to say anything. Doesn't he fear offending anyone? While people were astonished, Lin Fei's words resonated with countless players, who all started to applaud him. Well said. Support a clean internet. Yes, support. Right now, the entire gaming circle in the country is just a money-grabbing pigsty. Who says otherwise? They talk about rational spending while plotting to take money from players' pockets. Such companies should be driven out of the domestic market. Free is the most expensive. I support a buyout model. Yes, I believe games should be a one-time purchase. Or a monthly card system, with no in-game store. As the audience discussed, Lin Fei's speech echoed again on the screen. Although the current gaming market is chaotic, I believe that soon, a new era will rise in the gaming industry. Here, I solemnly assure all players and viewers nationwide that all games from our company will adopt a buyout model. No secondary purchases. I want to tell the world that our gaming industry has entered an era of resurgence, and we are going to create a brilliant and colorful gaming world. Lin Fei smiled as he spoke, each word striking directly into the hearts of the audience. Hearing this, viewers in front of their screens suddenly felt a surge of excitement coursing through their veins. Goosebumps covered their bodies. Their scalps tingled. Wow, that was so well said. No doubt about it. Those unscrupulous companies should exit the market. From now on, we only support our own company, no exceptions. Oh, I can't believe I've finally waited for this day. Who says otherwise? Previously, I was forced to play foreign games, but not anymore, because we have our own. Long live our company. This is a conscientious enterprise. You know, I have already achieved financial freedom thanks to this game. I really can't take it anymore. I'm so excited all over. After hearing Lin Fei's words, the viewers were completely captivated. Even those who had never played our games felt a rush of adrenaline upon hearing this. Once they researched more about the company online, their curiosity about the widely acclaimed games grew. In short, at this moment, countless viewers nationwide became aware of a conscientious game studio in the country. Of course, while some people were optimistic about the company, there was also a group that launched fierce attacks against it. This group shared a common trait. They considered themselves the so-called elites. This group of people, earning a regular 9-to-5 salary, harbors ambitions of raising emperors. They want their sons to become dragons and their daughters to become phoenixes. These are the very people. To them, gaming is seen as a distraction from serious pursuits, a stumbling block that hinders children's futures. And this stumbling block, not only is it not punished by authorities, but it has even made its way onto television. Has the media lost its mind? Why interview about games? It's outrageous. Such things should develop quietly, yet they are put on screen. If my child sees this, they might not focus on their studies. I think the authorities have gone mad for allowing games on TV. With money, anything seems possible. It feels like they are colluding. And honestly, all games should be banned to prevent children from going down the wrong path. What is this absurdity? Not knowing how to educate their children, yet blaming the world? Seriously, what are they thinking? Who says players are bothering you? My son learned to swim and drive because of gaming. So what? They are just making noise without self-reflection. It's laughable. Chapter 165. New military-themed game. As the television program aired, opinions online split into two factions. One group felt that interviewing about the game was inappropriate, believing it was a form of promotion for the game. The other group consisted of players and some parents whose children benefited from the game. Initially, these parents were also resistant to the game. However, after their children experienced it, they underwent significant changes, becoming more responsible and even acquiring various skills: swimming, driving, cooking. These practical life skills were evident to the parents. Thus, the game no longer seemed like a mere game in their eyes. Consequently, when they saw negative comments about the game, they quickly defended it, even transforming into fierce online advocates. Meanwhile, the interview on television continued smoothly. Lin Fei and Xia He were approaching the end of their interview after several questions and answers. At that moment, the host suddenly asked, "Mr. Lin, before you came for this interview, my colleague saw on your social media that you visited the Nanhai Sanatorium. Can you share more about it?" Upon hearing this question, Lin Fei, who had been calm throughout, suddenly stiffened. He never expected the host would boldly ask such a question. This involved sensitive issues surrounding the Nanhai Sanatorium. Even if he could answer, he wouldn't dare to speak about it. Some matters are not just casual talk. Just as Lin Fei was about to change the subject, he caught a glimpse of the director's team in his peripheral vision. He saw Ma Liang from the director team holding up a whiteboard with the words, "Recruitment." What the heck? They can do this too. Seeing the words on the whiteboard, Lin Fei was utterly speechless. He never anticipated that the three elderly men would resort to such tactics. Using an official television channel to directly advertise recruitment was truly outrageous. This level of audacity could only be pulled off by those three. Since the higher-ups had permitted it, Lin Fei felt he had nothing to hide. However, he still knew what was appropriate to say and what was not. As thoughts raced through his mind, he adjusted his suit and said solemnly, "Generally speaking, such questions are not suitable for television discussions, especially since they pertain to sensitive information." Seeing Lin Fei play coy, the host Xia He rolled her eyes internally but had no choice but to cooperate. "That's true. However, I still hope Mr. Lin can enlighten us, as very few people from the public get to visit there." Wow, is this just to show off? Lin Fei nearly lost his composure upon hearing Xia He's words. He winked at her and then smiled. "Haha, Sister Xia, you don't need to elevate me like that. I will say what needs to be said, and I won't dare to say what shouldn't be said." With that, he paused and added, "However, to be fair, some things do not involve that region. Since you want to know, I have nothing to hide. After all, this matter will be made public soon enough." Lin Fei naturally picked up a bottle of mineral water from the table, took a sip, and said, "Honestly, I was also quite surprised about where I could go. But the reason for my visit is not as people online say. I want to clarify that both I and my family come from an ordinary background. I'm just an ordinary person, not as complicated as you might think." Lin Fei smiled and leaned back on the sofa. Wow, here we go again with Lin Fei acting all mysterious. Come on, just spill it. Who cares about your family background? The audience in front of the television, filled with curiosity, could no longer hold back. A group of people, anxiously waiting, found it frustrating that he was rambling on. Now, who even cares about your family ties? But regardless, Lin Fei's actions had completely piqued the interest of the national audience. In the program, the host couldn't help but roll her eyes at Lin Fei's demeanor. However, as a qualified host, she knew that Lin Fei was playing his cards very well. "Mr. Lin, with the way you're keeping everyone in suspense, I can't guarantee you won't get booed when you leave the studio." The host joked. Haha. Lin Fei smiled slightly at the host Xia He's joke and replied meaningfully, "Sister Xia, what do you think of the current state of the country? The social development is rapid, and the living standards of ordinary people are quite good." Before the host could finish, Lin Fei interrupted, "I'm not talking about that. I'm referring to the trends among the younger generation." Trends? The host was somewhat confused, but soon thought of some popular celebrities and street youth she had interviewed before. She quickly realized the issue, but in front of a national audience, she couldn't speak freely and could only look awkward. Seeing her expression, Lin Fei nodded and said, "It seems you've already thought of it. Indeed, as you suspect, the new generation in the country is no longer what it used to be. Young people today." Lin Fei began to express some opinions and views on the current social environment, then shifted his tone, "Although what I mentioned is just a small part. If this trend is not curbed, I'm not being alarmist. The issue of cultural shifts will become increasingly severe worldwide." Lin Fei's comments left everyone feeling awkward. Although there was an element of alarmism, it was undeniable that the current cultural atmosphere was indeed concerning. As a top host of the official television station, Xia He was undoubtedly smart enough to navigate the situation. From Lin Fei's few words, a hint of something unusual was sensed. His eyes sparkled, and he immediately asked, "You mean to say that there?" Before the other party could finish, Lin Fei interrupted again, nodding and saying, "Just as you think. In a while, it will be the annual recruitment in my country. I am going there to discuss recruitment matters." "Recruitment?" Xia He was somewhat puzzled. "What does recruitment have to do with your company?" Realizing something, she quickly covered her mouth in surprise, exclaiming, It can't be that they plan to use recruitment as a game, right? Hearing Xiaohe's words, Lin Fei looked at her in astonishment. He had not expected this woman to be so sharp. He couldn't help but give her an appreciative glance and nodded in acknowledgement, saying, "That's right. It's not far from what you think." Upon hearing his response, the host Xia became even more surprised. "Mr. Lin, while I wasn't in the design field during university, I do know that creating a game shouldn't be that easy. Moreover, with just over a month left until recruitment, can a game really be made in such a short time?" Lin Fei shook his head with a smile and said, "Haha, Sister Xia. I never said we would make a game right now. To be honest, I already have a game that is about to be completed. And the theme is precisely related to the military." Chapter 166. The TV station shows CG. Is this operation real? Host Xiaohe, with her beautiful eyes wide open in disbelief, stared at Lin Fei. Hee. Lin Fei merely smiled slightly and said, "In fact, this game was already a half-finished product I created back then. Due to certain reasons, it wasn't announced at that time. I never expected it would attract national attention." What a blatant lie, without a hint of shame. People like Lin Fei are probably the ones who say such things. Xiaohe, on the other hand, was left in shock. The audience in front of the screen all widened their eyes in astonishment. Wow, I knew the old thief was hiding something. Damn it, good thing I watched the program. Otherwise I wouldn't have known this news. This is outrageous. This guy really doesn't treat people like humans. Having such a great game and keeping it under wraps. Love it, love it. Hurry up and get back to making the game. What's there to talk about in an interview? Lin Fei's announcement created a sensation online. No one expected this guy would drop such a bombshell out of nowhere. Everyone felt like they were on edge, eagerly wanting to know what game Lin Fei was talking about. At that moment, Xiaohe voiced the audience's thoughts. "Mr. Lin, would you mind revealing some details about the new game?" Lin Fei showed a troubled expression upon hearing this. After hesitating for a while, he said, "It's not that I can't reveal it, but I just don't know if it's convenient for the program team." Upon hearing Lin Fei's words, Xiaohe didn't answer immediately. Instead, she shifted her beautiful eyes towards the director below. The director, sitting next to the cameraman, nodded immediately upon seeing this. Although the interview program was nearing its end, the ratings had already surpassed previous episodes. Moreover, before the show started, it had been instructed that the program duration could be extended. Since Lin Fei mentioned the new game, the real-time data beside him began to rise again. Now that there was still content to cover, this was certainly what he wanted to see most. After receiving the director's approval, Xiaohe smiled slightly and said, "What's inconvenient about it? You are the protagonist of our show this episode. We can accommodate anything you need. Well, I happen to have a USB drive here, which contains the CG animation of that game." Saying this, Lin Fei took out a USB drive from his pocket. Of course, this USB drive was just a regular one from his keychain. However, just moments ago, he had used the system to copy the game's CG onto it. Although the game wasn't fully completed, I do have the opening CG. If it's convenient, you can play it. After all, talking about it is not as convincing as seeing it for yourself. It exploded. It completely blew up. Lin Fei's words drove the players in front of the screen into a frenzy. Everyone felt their heads buzzing. One must say, the impact of Lin Fei's words was equivalent to a heavy punch. Everyone is feeling dizzy. That old thief is really something. He quietly developed a new game without a word. Wow, this old guy is really sneaky. If it weren't for the TV appearance, we might not have known until the game was released. This is truly impressive, isn't it? Quietly, planning to amaze everyone. Exactly. I was wondering why there was no news at all. It's outrageous. The quality of the old thief's games is unquestionable, and the production rate is terrifying. Who says otherwise? Even the donkeys in the production team haven't worked this hard, right? Hearing the real news about the new game, who could possibly sit still? Although the previous game was fun, no matter how entertaining it was, it might not be as appealing as the new game. However, with countless players discussing it, some even posted the news online. The viewership of the official TV interview program skyrocketed again. The director, on the side, a screenwriter suddenly gasped at the real-time data. What? The director looked at the screenwriter in confusion. The data is wrong. The screenwriter stammered. What's wrong? The director instinctively looked at the equipment nearby, and upon seeing the numbers, exclaimed, "Wow, what is going on?" The viewership, which was just 1.7, had now risen to 2.5. As the director of this program, he was completely dumbfounded. Is it really that terrifying? The previous 1.7 had already surpassed past episodes and even exceeded most programs on the network, hinting at a record-breaking possibility. Yet, how did the viewership just jump to 2.5 in a blink of an eye? Is the equipment malfunctioning? Sensing his thoughts, a technician adjusting the equipment nearby shook his head. Director Jiang, the equipment is fine. This is the real viewership. Hiss. The technician's words made everyone around gasp in shock. What is the highest record for all their programs? Is it 1.9 or 2.0? But even if it's 2.0, it's incomparable to today's data. But you have to know, this isn't a local TV station. It's aimed at a national audience. 2-5. Director, it's now 2-7. What? It went up again? Hearing the technician, Director Jiang almost fell off his chair. Is it really that terrifying? However, before anyone could be surprised, the increasing viewership continued to rise steadily, averaging an increase of 0.1 every few seconds. This data can be said to be unprecedented. At this moment, everyone in the audience looked at the young man on stage with disbelief. What on earth did this guy do? Why is the viewership so high? It's hard to imagine that this was just an ordinary interview, yet it became so fantastical. All right, I'll have the technician take care of it. Xiaohe carefully took the keychain USB drive handed over by Lin Fei and walked cautiously to the edge of the stage. Seeing this, the technician below quickly stood up to take the USB drive. Wow, it's 3-0 now. When the technician returned to the equipment, he instinctively glanced at the real-time data notebook, and his heart jumped to his throat. No way. Is that true? Could there be a problem with the equipment? It can't be. That would be too terrifying. With a national population of 2.1 billion, even if 200 million people are watching, this data is likely to. Although nowadays, very few people watch television anymore, the population base is still there. This data, not to mention them. Even national television stations probably don't have such terrifying numbers. At the same time, the official television station's interview program was about to broadcast news about the new game CG from a certain gaming company, which instantly went viral online. Upon seeing this news, all fans of that gaming company and players from a certain survival horror game immediately put down what they were doing. The new game CG actually made it to the official television station. ISNT, that's just too amazing. Chapter 167, CG Explosion. The gaming studio has once again made headlines, with a new game SCG set to debut on official television screens. As soon as this news broke, it swiftly climbed to the top of trending searches. A game studio that has recently garnered global attention has surprisingly released a new game without any prior notice, and it's being broadcasted on official television. How incredible is that? Do they have connections that allow them to be so open about it? Or is it possible that the studio head is ready to lay everything bare and stop pretending with fans? This trending news instantly captivated gamers worldwide. The gaming studio is no longer the small workshop it once was. It's no exaggeration to say that every move they make captures the attention of gamers around the globe. Moreover, this news not only attracts players, but also prompts major gaming platforms and review media to take action. Wow, this is truly explosive. Just as the previous game was gaining traction, they are already announcing a new one. Who said they wouldn't run out of steam? But honestly, the studio head is quite generous. Let us hope this game isn't horror themed. It seems it's not, as I heard from a friend that it's a military warfare game. I can't take it anymore. I'm on my way to the supermarket. I need to watch TV. Yes, hurry to find a TV. CG must be watched on a big screen. Wait, the TV station is too slow. It's already started. A new game from the gaming studio is indeed explosive news. Gamers across the internet are going wild. Some people rush into large shopping malls, heading straight for the electronics section to watch. However, upon arriving, they find the area already packed with people. Eventually, the mall owners decide to project the interview program onto a giant LED screen outside the mall. Wow, what a sight. In an instant, the mall was cleared out. While outside, traffic became congested. The small square in front of the mall was completely paralyzed. Whether they were gamers or curious onlookers, everyone stood in the square, gazing up at the massive LED screen. Boom. Just then, amidst the chaos, a sound reminiscent of cannon fire erupted. The flashing LED screen slowly lit up. Smoke swirled. The booming sound continued. Boom. Another explosion echoed, and the square fell silent in an instant. What is going on? What are they showing? It feels like a war film. I don't know. I heard it's some kind of game. I'm just here for the excitement. A game? Since when did mall advertisements start showing games? Boom. Just as the crowd was discussing, another explosion rang out. The crowd suddenly fell silent, mouths agape, unable to finish their words. It was such an abrupt halt, because, accompanied by an incredibly sharp explosion, a battered steel beast drove across the screen. Looking at the dilapidated old tank before them, even though it was riddled with wounds, it still advanced like a lion. At that moment, everyone's hearts raced, all worried for the two tanks. However, just then, in the square, people saw a head pop up from a corner not far from the tank. Following that, the man who had appeared fixed his gaze firmly on the tank. Amidst the crowd's confusion, they watched as the man dashed out from cover, clutching a square object as he ran towards the tank. What the heck? Is this guy crazy? Who just said this was a game? Isn't this a movie? Watching that man, carrying a bundle of explosives, dressed in tattered clothes, charging towards the tank with determination, everyone in the square was moved. Boom. A violent explosion erupted, flames igniting. In high definition, everyone clearly saw that fearless, resolute man being torn apart by the blast. His remains, stained with sticky blood, splattered everywhere. Hiss! This guy is tough. Someone in the crowd gasped admiringly. Just as the event had begun, no one understood what was happening. They had no idea why that man would blow up a broken tank. However, as the flames burned, the tank hatch was pushed open. Clang, clang, clang. The first soldier to climb out of the tank was engulfed in flames, but jumped down without hesitation, rolling on the ground. But as that soldier shouted, everyone in the square changed their expressions. Damn it, they are the enemy. Haha, burn, burn well. I'm bowing to that guy from earlier. It was only at this moment that everyone realized the fearless man had blown himself up against a tank from a certain country. Suddenly, everyone felt immensely oppressed by the man's death. But upon seeing the soldier crawling out of the tank, they felt a surge of satisfaction. The hatred towards the enemy had already seeped into the bones of every person from that country. 3 enemy soldiers were burned alive. Only then did the crowd see that this was an old city filled with smoke and gunfire. Speakers hung on the building echoed various chaotic sounds. There were gunshots, artillery fire, and even planes flying low, leaving a roar behind. Amidst this cacophony, one could faintly hear the cries and shouts of people, screaming, weeping. What kind of terrifying scene is this? Suddenly, the screen went black and then transitioned to a trench. At this moment, a young, disheveled face appeared before everyone. It seemed to be a child, looking even younger than an adult. But at this time, that innocent face was darkened by smoke and dirt. The young boy bore wounds on his body, with bandages wrapped around his arms and his cotton pants soaked in blood. Even in high-definition quality, everyone could see the crimson ice crystals formed on the blood-stained pants. The boy's injuries were severe, yet his eyes showed no sign of pain, only an endless rage burning within. His youthful face was filled with determination. At that moment, the boy suddenly pulled the pin from an old-fashioned grenade in his hand and shouted fiercely, "You bastards, I'll blow you all up." Boom. As he spoke, the boy stood up and threw the grenade. But before anyone could react, the boy, who had just risen, was blown apart. Inside the trench, limbs and dirt flew everywhere, accompanied by the deafening sound of the explosion. The injured boy had vanished in the midst of the blast. Chapter 168. We were born here, and we will die here. What is going on? In the square, everyone was stunned. Even the drivers who were irritated by the traffic jam stopped honking their horns. At that moment, the square fell into a deathly silence. Everyone couldn't believe that the 15 or 16-year-old boy had just died like that. Not even a complete body was left, just like that, blown apart by enemy fire. In an instant, an indescribable oppressive atmosphere spread throughout the square. Everyone felt a lump in their hearts. There was an emotion that couldn't be expressed, making it hard to breathe. If this war doesn't end, the nation will perish. At this moment, the scene shifted to another position. From the surrounding objects, it was clear that this was a square. In front of the middle-aged man speaking, stood hundreds of young people dressed like students. As the man delivered his passionate speech, it became evident that this was a rally. Oh no. Just then, someone in the audience noticed something in a corner of the screen, and their expression suddenly changed. With the audience's exclamation, a plane was seen approaching low in the sky. Accompanied by the sharp roar of the plane's engine, the onboard machine guns roared fiercely. Bang, 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 bang. Bang. The machine guns continued to roar, and dense bullets began to sweep across the square. The terrifying aircraft swooped past, rolling away. Ah, my leg. Help. In an instant, the square was filled with blood, and severed limbs torn apart by bullets were seen everywhere. The shocking scene was laid bare before everyone's eyes. It was horrific, beyond description. As the aircraft passed, the city had already turned into ruins, smoke billowing, and flames rising. Civilians under attack ran around like headless chickens. The next moment, accompanied by the whistling sound of dropped bombs, they disappeared in the smoke of the explosions. In the background, cries could be heard. Even the cries of babies. In everyone's eyes, those bodies scattered everywhere might have been someone's child or father or mother and daughter. In short, it was a kind of tragedy that was hard to describe. The perspective of the scene slowly rose, shifting to a bird's eye view. At this time, everyone could see that the soldiers of the invading forces each resembled venomous snakes. Their ugly faces and every cell in their bodies radiated a malicious greed. Boom. As the sound of artillery rang out, a disorganized group, seemingly hastily assembled, charged into the streets. Every young face was filled with endless rage. They shouted at the top of their lungs, "An inch of land, an inch of blood, 100,000 youth, 100,000 soldiers. This is our homeland. We will protect it. We were born here, and we will die here. Better dead than surrender. We will never yield." Boom. Suddenly, a shell exploded in the crowd. A group composed of people from various social classes suddenly erupted in a thick cloud of blood mist. Even if they were injured and crying out in pain, there was not a single person who showed any sign of retreat. In their hearts, there was only one thought: to defend their homeland and protect their home. At that moment, the square fell silent. Everyone had tears in their eyes, gritting their teeth as they stared at the scene before them. They had unknowingly clenched their fists. No one expected that just 1 minute of animation could make their hair stand on end.